once a month, the York County Voter Registration and Elections Office, they will join us here because this is the presidential election year, and they're here to help make sure that we all know what's going on with our local elections as well as the big national one that's coming up in November. So everyone is armed with knowledge. So when you go to vote early or vote on election day in November, you've got everything ready to go, and you're not yelling at the volunteers and should have had this stuff taken care of.
Because they're going to yell back at you.
I know.
It's only fair.
Well, the volunteers that you have, Allison, are so patient. I mean, you really work hard, I know, with recruiting volunteers. And again, volunteers mean they're not getting paid, correct?
They get a stipend.
Oh, they do get a stipend. Okay.
It is tiny.
Okay. But they're still giving up their time.
Right.
They're not doing it for the money.
Right. They're doing it because they're serving.
Sure.
It is a true service to the community to ensure that people get access to vote.
But I have seen them deal with an irate voter and calm them down and speak very calmly to them and not insult them, but just kind of walk them through what they did wrong, the voter, and how to correct it. It was very good to see. I was like, now that's impressive. They need to go work for law enforcement officers.
De-escalation.
Law enforcement departments for sure. Well, Alison Mallard is the Public Information Officer for the York County Voter Registration and Elections Office. And good morning to you, Allison.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So folks might just think, like, what is your office doing on, like, July the 25th? Like, for the most part, the primaries are done here in South Carolina, right? And then you've got the general election coming up in November. So what's going on, like, in your office today?
Well, many things. So I am having a lot of conversations with those workers. Our lead team folks who are called clerks. We are ensuring that the contracts for our locations for early voting are set in place and that all the ADA requirements are met. Right now, we've got 5. So go ahead. They're already up on our website. We are setting the deployment schedule for equipment. I've got an equipment pickup schedule set for our clerks. I'm going to have 2 auxiliary or ancillary, whichever, support trainings for some things that we identified through a clerk survey that they felt like they wanted more education on. And that just speaks to what you were talking about, how great our folks are, because they don't get paid for this, but they will come and sit in my 2.5-hour training because they want to be able to educate our voters and to handle any situation that presents itself.
That's fantastic. And how many people right now are it was within that group? So between clerks and the ones volunteering as public servants?
We have 2 roles. The clerks are the folks who have experience and will lead the operations at the polling location.
Okay.
The other folks are poll managers, and we will have many more than we did in June. One thing, people are very excited to work in a presidential. Some people think that's the only election that we have. It is our 7th for this year.
Phew.
So it is not. There are a lot of poll managers who have worked all those elections. That's where they get the experience and the patience and just the, roll off the bat from kind of things. The thing I say in training over and over, we follow the law. We educate everyone else on how to follow the law. What they do with that information's up to them.
There you go.
That's pretty well said. I like that. So, Allison, between now and November, unless something major pops up, do we have any elections on the docket between now and November in York County?
No, we have passed the deadline to be able to have that. If someone had vacated a seat last week, then we could have potentially had a special election. But the way that the calendar falls and the legislature has designed that, now November is the next. We have candidate filing opening on August 1st for nonpartisan, which is school board. And there are a number of seats open. Fort Mill has 3, Rock Hill has 5.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So, we know. So we'll have all those folks coming in between August 1st at noon through August 15th. It opens at noon and it also closes at noon, which is on August 15th, 2 weeks.
Is there information online about when that opens and closes? Is it on your
It's
website?
on our website.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Candidate filing?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm doing in real time. You're seeing how the sausage is made. That's huge because I want to make sure that we start mentioning that over and over again. So this would be candidate filing for those nonpartisan, which means they do not have to declare to be a Republican or Democrat.
Right.
Okay. And those are the school board seats. Okay. So
Right.
keep that in mind. Yeah. You've got the Soil and Water Conservation District Commission, York School District, Clover, Rock Hill, Fort Mill, and then the watershed districts
Right.
as well will be up. And so you can do that. And so if folks want to run, Alison, walk us through that. What do they need to do?
They will need to be a registered voter
Okay.
in the area that they will be representing. We will have a map that they have to show us where they live. They need to bring an ID that also has where they live on it, and we'll look them up and make sure. And then they will create a statement of intention of candidacy, and that will make it public once we post that while they're there that they are in the running for that particular seat. There are at-large seats and there are designated seats as well. So again, they need to be aware of where they live.
Okay.
Got it.
Learn from experience,
Yes.
I take it, right? It's implied.
Well,
said that very
right.
clearly.
Know where you live and whether or not you are eligible.
So at this point, besides candidate filing, we will head to the polls in November for the general election.
October 21st is early voting. So we are highly encouraging folks to spread out through the early voting centers, 8:30 to 6, Monday through Saturday, November 2nd. No voting on Sunday or the Monday prior to Election Day. We will have 2 clerks and 15 poll managers who will help folks get that early voting done. We really, really encourage it because if we have an 80% turnout, that's 160,000 people. Ooh. So if we can get half of those done throughout the 15 days prior or even more, so early voting is so just it's just less chaotic.
It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks to do so. You can swing by
Yes.
Right.
any of these now 6 locations. I'm looking
okay.
on your website.
So Lake Wiley is a new location. So
Yeah.
we are happy to have them on board. They're excited to. That happened yesterday afternoon. So, but again, that's what we're doing. There were site visits yesterday and all that. So one of the other things, though, and I encourage anybody to call me at the office if they would like for me to come and talk to their group. Because Rotary Clubs, Kiwanis, spoke to the Carolina Orchard Romeo group the other day. That way, people can ask me questions one-on-one. I had so many questions because I always open with questions before I do my presentation because guess what? I want to tell them what they would like to know.
There you go.
Love it.
Yes.
That makes sense.
So different groups have different
Sure.
interests. So if somebody would like for me to come out and tell them about, now keep in mind, we are definitely governed by the law.
Now, you're not going to tell them how to vote. You're going to tell them
Right.
the process of going to vote.
Right.
What they do with that information is up to them, right, Alison?
Exactly.
To quote
Exactly.
Alison Mallard. I want that on a T-shirt or a bumper sticker, Alison. Going back to the early voting, to your point, this is fantastic. We were able to take advantage of this back in the primary season. I know we were, some of us here at the broadcast house, we had something to do, but somebody said, hey, I need to go vote early. We got in the car, went there, and got back within 30 minutes. So to your
Right.
point, if you want to, it's a good thing to have people that show up to vote. But sometimes on election day, people don't have an hour or so
Right.
to spend. So if you can cut that time in half and swing by one of these places, and again, you just have to live in York County. So if you live in Rock
Right.
Hill and you're doing business, let's say in Lake Wiley at the Imagine Church of the Carolinas, and I'm there running an errand, and I'm like, you know what? Early voting is right now. I'm going to swing in and go ahead and vote now.
Right.
Now, what's important, right? Because you educated us, I think, last month about this. I might be voting. I might live in Rock Hill. I'm going to vote early voting in Lake Wiley, the Clover area, but my ballot still is going to reflect where I live. I'm not voting in Lake Wiley, Clover, because I like maybe a race that's on that ballot and thinking I'm going to vote there.
Right.
Okay, so
Right.
wherever you live, that address is tied to you wherever you go in the 6 places that you can vote early.
Right. Ballots are linked to specific addresses.
Okay.
That is a good reminder. So, and that is why you have to tell us where you live when you get there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't live at a location where we have you registered, please take care of that now.
Yes.
Update your address, scvotes.gov. It is quite easy to do, or you can email our office, and it will save a great deal of minutes if you're already ready with a current photo ID issued by the federal government or the state of South Carolina, and then that your address is right. And then you can look at your sample ballot. Not now. The ballot's not set. We do get that question, when's my ballot coming? Well, the first week of October, because it'll be 30 days prior, because the ballot, who's going to be on the ballot, has not been set.
Okay.
We still have filing,
know.
and
That's a good point.
even presidential nominees are not clear.
Yeah, clearly, for sure. That's great. Well, again, lots of information. Check out the voter registration and election tab. It's under departments on the York County government's website. All the information is there, including the candidate filing. And that's going to get underway August the 1st for nonpartisan seats, mainly the school boards. So keep that in mind and get ready for early voting for the general election. It will start on Monday, October the 21st. Alison Mallard is the Public Information Officer for the York County Office of Voter what is it? Voter registration and election? I had it.
Do we get it?
I had
That's
it.
right.
Is that
Voter
it?
registration
that's
and
it.
elections.
I second guess myself. Man,
It's the longest.
it is a long title.
You got to register
Yes.
to be able to vote in the elections.
There you go.
Oh, I love it. All right.